After almost 3 years of waiting, we finally got to sail on Odyssey of the Seas.
And here's how it went. Welcome back to the Cruise World. I'm Mark.
And I'm Stephanie.
And today we're talking about the Odyssey of the Seas. Like Steph said, this has been a long time coming. We were so excited to finally board this Quantum Class ship. And I think we had a pretty good time, so we're going to run through it for you right now. What are we getting started with, Steph?
So first of all, we're going to talk about parking.
Okay, yeah.
Now that we are living in Florida, instead of, worrying about flying to the ports, now we have to worry about getting to the ports in our car and parking.
Yeah, that brings up another issue, right? How much does parking cost? And previously, we had parked at Miami, and I think it was $25 a night. And on our last cruise prior to Odyssey of the Seas, we were parking in the garage. We pulled up, and they had jacked the price up to $35 a night. And we were there for 2 weeks. So almost $500 later, we decided that was about enough of that. We talked to D&J from Pero DJ. They turned us on to this place in Fort Lauderdale, what was called Park by the Ports,
Park by the Port, yeah.
And $83 for our 6 nights, and everything went real smooth. It was about a 10-minute ride. We parked our car about a 10-minute ride over to the port, and I thought things went pretty well. How about you?
Oh yeah, shuttle service. They give you a sticker and like a little card, so when you come back, you have a designated area for your pickup, and it's easy peasy.
Yeah, it was very well, and they dropped us right off at the terminal, and that makes it time to talk about embarkation.
Yes, so we arrived about an hour before our designated time, which, they say not to do, but everyone's excited. We want to get on board. It wasn't very busy. We were able to get on in about 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, I'd say about 10, 15 minutes tops. Everything was running smooth. There were a lot of staff there, and we've been really lucky lately getting on board these ships in no time. So yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. We were on quite a bit before our boarding time. So we were prepared to wait if we needed to. I'd rather be there early and have to wait than run into some issues being late and miss the ship. That's not going to happen. So I thought the embarkation process went real smooth there at the Royal Caribbean Terminal, and I've got absolutely no issues with that. None whatsoever.
The only issue I did have, of course, as soon as, we check our documents and the lady's asking about our health questionnaire, as we're getting ready to walk through, something just lodged in my throat and I start coughing, and, I just was like, no, I'm good. And the lady's like, are you sure? Yeah.
And she had just gotten rid of all of her water because we had to go through security. So it was kind of funny, but
horrible timing.
Yeah, it was. That was funny, but no issues as far as the actual boarding process goes. We were on in a flash.
Oh yeah.
And so we do the muster drill first thing when we get on board, and we suggest that you do that too. There were some folks that took their time once again.
It takes 3 minutes. Yeah, today, literally do your muster drill.
The way the muster drills are going now, so simple. We don't want to go back to the old way. And then our room was ready pretty quick, so we headed up to the room to check that out. What did you think? We were on the inside cabin. What did you think of that?
It was your standard inside cabin. It was, fairly spacious. The bed was situated a little strange.
Yeah, so we saw throughout the cruise, some of the other rooms all along the hallway, and they all have the bed on the side. So if you're looking into the room, it would either be on the right side or the left side, facing in. And ours, we could look at the foot of the bed into the head of the bed right as we straight through the room. So that presented a couple of challenges. Number one, on your side of the bed, the space to get through. How tight was that for you?
It was like the size of my thigh.
Yeah, so you were squeezing through there. It was beside the desk and the bed, so to get over there. And the other issue that presented was the TV. Now the TV was on a swivel, but it was on the left side of the wall, so it wasn't a full swivel. So if Steph wanted to watch any TV, which you like to do sometimes at night before bed, is very, very hard. You weren't able to see the TV very well. So that wasn't a real good thing about the room, but it's not the end of the world. There were a couple of really cool things in the room.
Yes, so this was the first stateroom we have ever had that had storage above the bed.
Yeah.
Genius. I mean, the space above the bed is just wasted space. So for them to, have the cabinets, they opened up. Mark was able to fit all of his camera equipment up there. I was able to put some of my collapsible totes up there. It was great.
Yeah, it really helped us keep things organized. So unless I had my equipment charging or whatnot, it was up there, out of the way, closed the door. Very nice, very nice.
One thing I didn't like is, the first night in the room going to bed, realized we were not alone.
We had somebody else in the room with us.
I was, getting ready to climb into bed, and I stepped on something furry. Kind of freaked me out a little bit, and I looked down, and there was like a teddy bear that had fallen between the bed and the, not the nightstand, but the little nightstand.
The storage cubby to the left there. Yeah.
So some little kid was probably crying at home because he didn't have his teddy bear because it was in the room still.
Yeah. And there were a couple of issues, a little trash left behind, and some things that looked like they could have been cleaning better. I know that the room stewards are very busy trying to turn those over. But a little more attention to detail. The cleanliness, I think, was good throughout the rest of the cruise, right? So no issues there. Just, if you're missing if you don't see a teddy bear, then, I guess I can argue how well did you clean that room, right? So that was good. Anything? Go ahead.
Sorry. Something else that I find annoying, and it's not just on this ship, on a lot of ships, you have two people sleeping in a bed. So why is it that there's only one outlet on one side of the bed?
Yeah.
Both people want something. Luckily, I figured out that there is a USB port on the phone, which was on my side of the bed. But that's, if you're gonna have one, just put one on each side.
Yeah, so that is something, I don't know. It makes me want to check the phone every time now, because how many times have we seen the phone over there and not realized? But a lot of the times it seems like the phone is on the same side that the plug is, but that is good. So if you're here on the Odyssey, check the phone on the side of the bed that doesn't have the USB. You got a USB right there in the phone. Bathroom, pretty standard cruise ship bathroom, right?
Yeah, I do like that it had the shower, like the curved shower door, so it made it a little more spacious.
Nobody likes a clingy shower curtain, right?
No. It did have the nice little bar at the bottom so you can prop your foot up, if you're shaving or whatnot.
When I shave my legs, I love that bar.
Absolutely. And the shower head. So on a lot of shower heads, if you want to change the pressure, you got to turn the dial. This one, it was great. It was just push the button once and it went to a hardcore spray. Push it again, it went back to being normal. I thought that was very nice. I enjoyed that.
Right. Anything else about the room that you think we missed?
No, but I know that Mark was happy that there were washcloths, because oddly enough, on quite a few of our past cruises, you have to ask for washcloths, which is kind of strange.
Kind of weird, yeah. But all right, so pretty good room. Just a couple of minor issues, but that you probably won't encounter. We were in room 8187, and like I said, that had the kind of different layout. So shouldn't be any issues. Inside cabin, our friends Shane and Michelle were in a ocean view balcony, and they loved it. So, all right, moving on.
So now we are going to talk about the ship.
All right, and like I said, we were excited to sail on this Quantum Class, a little different, not as big as most of the Royal Caribbean ships we've been on, but still a good size ship, not too small, not too big, but a very different layout than we were used to. And I think the easiest way might just kind of be to go through it in order. So the main decks that people are going to utilize on the lower decks are 3 4, and 5. So on 3, the biggest thing is the dining room near the aft, and right in front of that, running from the midship to forward, is the casino. Pretty good sized casino. We went through there a few times, not big casino players, but they had a ton of table games and a lot of slots. And right in front of that is the music hall. And what kind of stuff were they doing in the music hall this week?
They were doing karaoke. They were doing. They had live bands playing. There were trivias.
Well, they did a game show in there.
Yeah,
the Millionaire
game show.
So this space is very big. Like I said, it's 2 floors. It goes up to the 4th floor, and there is a lot of space up on deck 4 in the music hall. They've got pool tables there. They've got some other stuff.
That was actually our muster station.
Yeah, and there's no issue with this not being big enough. I honestly think if I were to have one complaint, there's a couple of other areas on the ship that we're going to get to that I think could be bigger, and maybe the music hall could be a little smaller if they were to redesign this. But we'll get to those in a minute. So next to the music hall, if we're moving towards the aft, now that we're up on 4, we come to the pub, right? It's the Crown and Anchor pub, and this is one of the spots that I think could have gained some space from the music hall, because this thing was busy all the time. They had the guitar player in there at night who was jamming. Everybody was singing along, and
Trivia.
a lot of trivia is in there. So this place filled up really quick. A cool like Old English style pub, right?
Yeah, they also had snacks, so you could purchase some quick bites. And
Some pretzel bites, poutine, some nachos, and even a pub burger that was actually fairly reasonably priced. I think most of the appetizers were like $4.
Yes, do not get the fried pickles.
Yeah, she wasn't a fan of the fried pickles.
Other than that, things were. It was decent.
So this is a pretty cool venue, and this is the Royal Esplenade that runs down 4 and 5, and there's a lot of shopping there, just like on all of your other Royal Caribbean ships. You got the Royal Shop, Effie, you've got Solarium Beauty, all your standard shopping. Listen, if you want to buy a watch or some perfume, this is your spot. They've got you covered. Right next to that pub is Sorrentos Pizza, and it's a little tight, the seating at the front getting in, but there's for this size ship, I think there's a lot of good seating areas here at Sorrentos, probably more than the Oasis class ships we've been on and the Icon as far as seating goes.
Yeah, one thing I don't like about Sorrentos on like Harmony and Icon is they'll bunch like 3 little round tables together.
Yeah.
So, somebody sits on the end at the end table, now you're squeezing past people to like sit down. It's just, to me, it's just not a very good layout.
Yeah, so the seating was there's ample seating here, and it was actually open from the inside right into the Cafe Promenade, which is your 24-hour bites, and they've got cookies there, Danishes throughout the day, sandwiches. So this is a good little spot to go. Moving down across the way, you've got your Starbucks, so you can get all your coffees. There's a couple other places where you can get the Starbucks coffees too, but this is the actual Starbucks location. You've got guest services right here, which is a huge space, probably bigger than they need. I never saw a big line at guest services here. I think they were doing their job. They had it on lockdown. And also Boleros, which is your Latin themed bar. They had some music jamming, lots of people dancing in there. So that's a really cool place.
I have to say though, with the Royal Esplanade, it felt very compact.
Yeah.
So it just.
Yeah,
it felt very crowded a lot of times.
Yeah, so being used to the Oasis class ships, very wide, right? And the Icon class, very wide. So they've got the kiosks in the middle where they're also selling things. And yeah, I do. It makes me think about all of the people that I've spoken with that talk about these monstrosities of ships, the Oasis class, the Icon class, even the Carnival XL class, and some of the newer MSC ships. They're just too big. There's too many people. I don't want to be that crowded. I got to tell you, there were times I never felt uncomfortably crowded here on Odyssey, but I did feel more crowded at times than I feel like I've ever felt on an Oasis or the Icon classes. So, you know, these cruise ship companies, they know what they're doing. I mean, the people to space ratio, they have that figured out, right? So the bigger ships have so many different venues to spread people out. I've never felt too crowded, but it did get a little bunched up here in the Esplanade there on deck 4. I can't disagree with you on that. Moving back is the main dining room, the 4th level of the main dining room. It's on levels 3 and 4, so I think we're good there. Let's bounce back up to one of Royal Caribbean's favorites, and that's the Schooner Bar. What did you think of the Schooner Bar?
I enjoyed it. It was, again, very busy. They utilized it. Piano players, a woman playing guitar, trivia, lots of trivia, which we love.
Yeah, so Schooner Bar is up on 5 forward, right above the music hall, and again, this is like what I think the Crown and Anchor Pub and the Schooner Bar could have utilized some of the excess space from the music hall, because these two venues are very popular and get very busy. And if you want to go to something that's going on there, whether it be the musicians or trivia, you got to get there early, or it's going to be standing room only. So that's just that's our little PSA for that. But I really like the way this Schooner Bar is decorated. They've got the ship's wheel out front, lots of ropes that are reminiscent of your old style ships. Even the roof is kind of shaped like a boat. So I really like this. This is a cool bar and a cool hangout spot, and some of the seating out in the walkway for Schooner Bar overlooks the Esplanade. So that's pretty cool. What's next as we move back towards the aft on deck 5?
So you have Izumi, Sushi, which, you know, we're not big sushi fans.
Yeah, and so we actually didn't do any specialty dining during this cruise. We ate at the MDR and the buffet exclusively, and we're going to talk about the food here in a little bit. But also right next to that was the Bionic Bar.
Bionic Bar and Wonderland.
Yeah. So Wonderland, if you haven't done it, we're not adventurous eaters, but you loved Wonderland, didn't you?
Yes, and I typically don't like seafood, but I did try the caviar that they had, and to this day I still think about the branzino that they serve. It was delicious.
Yeah. The whole presentation, the whole experience was great. Now the space here at Wonderland is not a very large space, so if you're sailing on Odyssey and Wonderland is something you want to do, I would probably book that in advance. But it's a great experience, and we would recommend that for anyone. Across the way, like I mentioned, is the Bionic Bar. Didn't really seem to be getting too much use, at least in the times that we were up there.
Yeah, I don't feel like that upper level was really utilized by a lot of people. Most people stayed down in the Royal Esplanade and used that as their main thoroughfare.
Yeah, so it's just the center is open, so you've got Bionic Bar on one side, you've got Izumi, then Wonderland on the other, and then as you pass through, and it now becomes an area called the Via, and you're actually looking down into the main dining room on decks 4 and 3, which is kind of neat and a little different. And on the port side here is Giovanni's and Giovanni's Wine Bar, and we've eaten at Giovanni's several times. We really enjoy the Italian food, so if that's something you want to do some premium dining and you like Italian, I would give that a shot. And they've also got the wine bar there, as well as another watch store, if you can believe that.
I know.
Moving back along the Via is the Park West Gallery.
Yes.
The cruise next station, and I think what a lot of people don't realize is that it is actually a good time if you know you're going to cruise with Royal again. They can offer you some pretty good deals and some onboard credit if you book on board. And I know some people don't want to do that because they have their travel advisor. So what can you tell us about that?
So when you print out your cruise documents, usually there is a paper in there that most people look over, but it's for a cruise next. And on the bottom of that paper, whoever you booked with, if you booked with a travel agent, it will have their information on it. So you can give that to the cruise next people and they will notify your travel agent if you book on board. So there's, it's a nice process. Everybody, can.
Yeah, so you'll get the onboard credit, but the travel agent or advisor will still get credit, and they'll still control that booking, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's something good to know. And moving back, you have the Cafe 270, which is, there's no Central Park here on Odyssey. You've got salads, you've got sandwiches. This is where you can get your Royal Kumoek roast beef sandwich if that's something you're into, like me.
And they had a nice salad bar there.
Yeah. And right past that is one of the coolest areas of the ship, and that is 270. And I know you wanted to talk a little bit about that, right?
Yeah. So this venue, Royal Caribbean spent, I believe, $6 million.
$60 million on this area.
Just on this area. It has windows that give you a 270-degree view during the day. At night, they put some shades down and they can project all sorts of stuff onto the windows. We saw, the book there.
Yeah. The book is a very good show that you have to book reservations for to get it. It's actually the only show that you have to book in advance, and for good reason. So there are a lot of seats. There's seats both on decks 5 and on deck 6 here at 270, and it's just such a multi-purpose space where you can go, you can get your food from Cafe 270 in the day, you can eat there. You can relax. You can look at the beautiful views outside the windows. Up on deck 6, there's a library in there, and then at night it turns into this multi-purpose venue. There's a bar over here, and they put on some great shows. It's very technologically advanced. They've got all kinds of cylinders where the artist or the actors and performers can pop up through or drop down from.
Yeah, down to backstage.
Yeah,
it's below the floor.
Yeah, and they've got these. It's 6 or 8 100-inch screens that are on robotic arms that just make it an amazing show. So this is definitely a technologically advanced area. And it's pretty cool. So I think that's definitely something you need to check out. They also have a behind the scenes 270 thing where they tell you all about this, and they project like a virtual symphony at different times and these other little shows. So other than the book, there are also some cool things back here. So definitely one of our favorite areas. And since we're already talking about entertainment, I think that pretty much covers the lower inside decks, right? So we talked about the book. What is the other entertainment that they can see in the main Royal Theater?
So we have the Effectors, which this is the first installment. Yep. Part 2 is on the Wonder, and Part 3 will be coming soon to the Icon of the Seas. Probably
in a couple of months. They're working on installing that right now, and Part 3 is actually an origin story, so it's a prequel. So Part 1 on Odyssey, Part 2 on the Wonder, and then Part 3, the origin, the prequel, will be on Icon of the Seas. What did you think of Effectors?
It was good. It's kind of a cheesy superhero show, but listen, I enjoyed singing and dancing, and
they've got some cool stuff with drones. That's all I'm gonna say. We won't get into that any further. So that's a pretty cool show, and they've got one more, and it's called Showgirls.
Past, present, and future. So they basically, they take you through the years of Showgirls and how they've changed. And let me tell you, the French can dancing was probably, it was one of my favorite dances.
Yeah, it was a very entertaining show, and they'll probably also have some other entertainment. We had a comedic juggler on board, so that's very good. But that stuff will change from cruise to cruise. But at least for the immediate future, you've got the book back in 270, and up in the Royal Theater, you've got Effectors, and you've got the Showgirls. So some very good shows,
That about covers the lower decks, so now let's move on to the upper decks.
All right, so starting in the front, up to deck 14, and this is a favorite for adults because it's an adult-only area, and it is the Solarium. This was a beautiful area on this ship.
Oh, absolutely. It had a lot of spaces for seating. You know, some were out in the sunny area, some were on the sides of the deck.
Yeah, it's like a 3-tiered pool there, right?
I think it was four.
Four
Tiers, a couple
cool.
hot tubs in there.
Now the hot tubs, of course, are warm, but the other pool is not heated. It's very cold, but a very cool place to hang out. They've got the Sunshine Bar there that's right in there. And
Solarium Bistro.
And the Solarium Bistro, where you can grab some breakfast, or it's Mediterranean fare right in the afternoons or later in the day.
What else I liked is on each side at the front there were 2 viewing platforms, so you could go out, if you wanted to watch Sail Away or something, and it's kind of secluded.
There are a lot of spots on this ship where you can see up on the upper decks. You can get good views. A lot of the bigger ships are hard to see. In certain areas, like the front of the ship and the rear of the ship. So that was nice, those viewing areas. Now, as we move back out of the Solarium, you've got a pool area, and this is also the smoking area on the port side.
Yeah, so listen, I used to be a smoker. I understand people want to smoke, but this was a weird spot. It was right next to the pool.
Yeah.
And while it was outdoors, it was still in kind of a covered area. So it wasn't a lot of circulation. So that whole, from the Solarium back past the pool, it just was very smoky, in my opinion.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of an issue for us. I understand you got to have a spot for smokers. A lot of people smoke. So, maybe if it was on just the open air deck, so it wouldn't have kind of been trapped in there. But as you're moving back, you've got that pool. You have 2 very good sized pools. Mm-hmm. You've got the pool, then you've got lime and coconut. And then you come into another pool, also a Sprinkles ice cream station in there. And the lime and coconut, there's lime and coconuts on both sides, as well as a lime and coconut up on deck 15, which is also the entrance to the North Star. Mm-hmm. And this is a little pod that will take, what is it, like 150 feet above ocean. We went up there, get some great views of the ocean. We decided to do it on a sea day because we wanted to be out in the ocean. Unfortunately, it was kind of overcast when we were there, but we still got some great views.
Oh yeah,
it's a pretty cool thing. There is a charge to do that, so
it's about a 10-15 minute ride. It does a full
turnaround. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's something that you might want to look into if you're sailing on Odyssey. Moving back from that pool, you've got the kids' Splash Away Bay, which was the kids were loving that. This pool deck right here, with the second pool, the one that's right in the center, that pool deck was busy all of the time. You're not supposed to reserve the chairs, but I mean, they were reserving them. This is a very busy area. There was always some seating I saw up on deck 15 if you want to get some sun, but this was definitely one of the most popular spots on the cruise ship during the day when the sun was out. We've also got the Mexican restaurant there.
El Loco Fresh.
Yep. So that's a great place for lunch and maybe an early dinner to grab your Mexican fare.
Some quesadillas, burritos, nachos.
Yep. And then moving inside on deck 14, there is the Windjammer, and we're gonna talk about the food all together right here shortly.
We also have the teppanyaki inside there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
on
right.
The other side.
On deck 14, port side is the teppanyaki. That's an upcharge restaurant as well. Always a fun time. Good food, good fun. So now let's go up to 15. Right above there is one of my favorite spots on the ship, a very versatile spot, and that's the Seaplex. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Seaplex, let's see, they did badminton, soccer, basketball, bumper cars, pickleball. The Crazy Quest was happening there.
So unlike a lot of the sports courts where you'll have some people playing basketball every once in a while, maybe some soccer, they really utilize this space. And I think personally one of the coolest things that they did up there was the bumper cars, and they did that several times throughout the week. I got some good hits on some people got some good hits on me.
Let me just tell you, I know that that everybody wants a selfie moment, but when you're taking a selfie and driving your car, you kind of look silly, especially when you drop your phone out and they have to stop.
Yeah, we saw a couple people do that, but this is
I get it, but still.
This is a really cool spot, and up on the second floor of the Seaplex is Playmakers.
Yes.
So that's the sports bar, and they've got some good grub there too. That's an upcharge. They got some onion ring towers, chicken wings, and something that you saw for the first time that you'd like to try.
Yeah, so it's a pig wing, and I looked it up online to see what it was, and it looks like it's basically like pork chop on a stick. So I'd much rather give that a whirl than a chicken wing.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't see that until the very last night when they were getting ready to close. We were in there for the Crazy Quest. So next time we're at a Playmakers, we're going to check it out, and hopefully they'll have that.
For sure.
Moving back on deck 15, there's some games to play outside. It's like a huge chessboard
And Twister.
Yeah, there's a Twister. There's like that football pool thing that you can do.
They had shuffleboard in a few different areas.
As well as a really big pink cat that's chasing a yarn ball up the side of the ship, and I'm not sure what that's about. If you know what that's about, let me know down in the comments. Obviously, you got a rock climbing wall like most, if not all, of the Royal Caribbean ships. And moving back is another really cool area, the Flowrider.
And the iFly.
The iFly. So what's the deal with the iFly?
So iFly is indoor skydiving. You pay to go inside this tube, and you have an instructor in there with you, and basically you're just letting all the air. You're defying gravity.
Yeah, it's like you're skydiving, and the sessions are a minute. And how much did it cost?
I believe it was like $68.
Or you could do for just a little more, for like $80 some. You can do 2 minutes, right?
Correct.
I did check prices with the iFlies that are on land, and the prices aren't too much different. So if you don't have an iFly near you anywhere, the ship, the Odyssey of the Seas, would be a great time, I think, to give it a whirl. So
those instructors are freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, they after every group goes in there, they'll do a little show in there, and it's pretty impressive what you can do when you know what you're doing in there. They give you a little training video and everything before. So also back there is the old big orange and yellow ball. It used to be a place where there was like a trampoline, bungee, virtual reality experience that you could do. It was on several Royal Caribbean ships, and in spring of 2023, for whatever reason, Royal Caribbean decided to get rid of this. In a press release, they said that they were going to replace it with some fun, new, exciting activities. I can tell you that here on Odyssey, there's a few cornhole boards in there, and that's about it. So if you consider that fun, exciting experience, then yes, they were true to their word there. I mean, it's been almost a year, and that thing is still there.
On the upper level, though, they did have like a glass walkway, which was cool. That's where we did the sail away from. And
that's reminiscent of like the Bridge of Sighs and the things that we see on a lot of these newer MSC ships. And so it's cool. You can look down and through the glass floor and see through. So
deck 15 also, that's where you'll find the spa, the fitness center, and the jogging track.
And also the teen club, and they've got a couple of private patio spots there. So, but I think that about does it for all the decks. Is there anything else you wanted to cover about the ship? I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the elevators. Am I right?
The elevators were horrible, and that's just not me. I mean, you could ask anybody. The elevator situation, first of all, they took forever.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. They have I don't know if it was always like this before COVID or after COVID, but it's touchless buttons.
Yeah. Which
so in
theory are great, right?
You get close to it, and it senses, oh, you want that floor. Well, it also senses, if you accidentally are hovering too long over 8, or, oh no, somebody like accidentally brushes up against it, and now you're stopping at every floor.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's what contributed to them taking so long, but I mean, we're not exaggerating here. It was hard to be in an elevator bay and not hear everybody else talking about how bad the elevators were on this ship. I don't know how you can fix it, okay? There's 6 elevators in the forward, there's 10 elevators in the rear. I would think that would be adequate. They're not tiny elevators, they're not huge, but they're a good size elevator. So I really don't know how they can fix this situation, but it is an issue. It's not something that would keep me from sailing on Odyssey. I really like Odyssey of the Seas, but you might wanna brush up on your cardio and plan on maybe taking the stairs. How many flights of stairs did you do once or twice? 8 or 9 flights?
We started on deck 2 and walked all the way up to 14, I believe it was. Because we were frustrated, and that's 12 flights, because there is a deck 13 on this ship, right? Because it was made for Asia. I don't know what the fix is here, but the elevators are an issue. So if you're, if you've got mobility issues, and you can't do the stairs, you've got to be prepared to wait, and they close really fast too. Oh my goodness! Like as soon as they open,
you've
got like 5 seconds. Yeah, no bing bongs. There is a red light if it's going down, or a green light if it's going up. But if you're visually impaired, I mean, there's nothing to tell you. Like 2 dings, it's going down. 1 ding, it's going up.
Or if you're not the fastest person in the world, I mean, those elevators are shutting.
Yeah.
So I don't, like I said, Royal Caribbean, I don't know what the deal is here with this. It's a great ship, but something's got to be done about the elevators. Yeah. So that's enough about that.
Yeah.
What's next?
How about food and beverages?
Okay, so food and beverages. Like we mentioned earlier, we exclusively ate in the MDR for dinner. We've talked about this before, and everybody's talked about this. It seems like a lot of the staples that used to be in the main dining room, your typical things, like most of the time, every night you'd be able to get a chicken breast, a steak, some salads, some basic things, shrimp cocktail. A lot of those classics are gone. You'll see them every once in a while. About the only thing I saw that I could get every day was a Caesar salad. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't like Caesar salad. So what do you have? They also had some sort of steak every day, but it is so thin, it doesn't matter how you ask for it. These chefs aren't miracle workers. My overall take on the food in the dining room it was good, but they're obviously getting hit hard because they're coming over. The maitre d's coming over to you every day. The staff, they're basically saying, "Hey, we need 10s on this review. Do this review. If we're not delivering a 10 to you, please let us know how we can." Now, my personal feeling, I would rate it, different days are different, anywhere from a 7 to a 10 on a daily basis. I understand that you're cooking this much food, not everything's going to be perfect, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I will eat what I get and be okay with it. But the quality of food, I think, has gone down a little bit. What's your take?
I completely agree, and especially on this ship. So on other ships where you have more, dining options and people are doing specialty dining, the dining rooms aren't as busy on this ship. And maybe because there aren't as many, other options, the dining rooms were very busy.
Yeah, a lot of people eating in the main dining room.
Probably the busiest that we've seen so far. Yeah. So I don't know if maybe they were just, overwhelmed sometimes with trying to get the food out. But I ordered the cheese plate one night, and it came out with, some grapes, some not very good celery, and some saltine crackers. Yeah. Like they had just opened up a package of saltine crackers and threw them on the plate, and I was like, that's not what I expect from Royal Caribbean.
Yeah.
It was still good, but it just wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah. So obviously we're doing a review. We're going to talk about the food in the main dining room. I didn't have any major problems with it. It was good. Mm-hmm. But I really can't give it a 10. And
I can give the staff a 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Our staff was amazing. Yeah. Ridwan was our waiter. He was eager to please. So
yes.
The staff. We'll just touch really briefly on the staff on this ship, and we're almost always singing the praises. It was good. I had no issues with any staff members. Everybody was was eager to help and happy. However, we're moving to the Windjammer now, where we did where we did a lot of our breakfasts and a couple lunches, I think. And I will say one thing, and I don't know if it's staffing issues or whatever. I didn't have any real problems, but one thing I did notice was, tables weren't being cleaned as fast, or plates being cleared and things like that. We normally see on other ships. So that is one thing I'll point out. So sometimes when we wanted to find a seat, there were several tables around that sat there with dishes on them for a while without being cleaned.
But they had amazing, what I loved, everything bagels. Mm-hmm. They also had blueberry bagels. Typically your buffet, you're just getting a standard plain bagel. The fact that they had, different bagels every day, I love that, because I was grabbing fresh baked cookies in the afternoons, chocolate chip. Next day would be oatmeal raisin. They even had a mudslide cookie. And then you brought me a vanilla Danish the other day. That was probably the best Danish I've ever had. It was warm. I mean, it felt like it had just come out of the oven. So there were definitely some good things going on there in the buffet. Yeah, they've got, the Asian place where you can, you pick your protein, your vegetables, and they'll cook it up right there for you, which I like.
Yeah. No, they also have a couple of freestyle Coke machines in the Windjammer, and I think this is a perfect segue for me to talk about the Coke freestyle machines. And this has been a positive and negative of mine on every Royal Caribbean ship that we've been on. And I love that they have the freestyle Coke machines. I love the ability to go and get your drink without having to wait in line or take the bartender staff time when they're making all of these amazing concoctions. So there are two here in the Windjammer, and that's good. The other locations, they have one in the Seaplex on deck 15 aft. They've got two at Sorrentos, though one was out of order the entire cruise.
There's one at El Loco Fresh.
There's one at El Loco Fresh up on deck 14, which is a great location, right there by the main pool and by Splashaway Bay. However, El Loco Fresh isn't open all the time, and they would rope it off, even though they could easily rope it around that freestyle Coke machine. They roped it off whenever El Loco Fresh was not open, so that would make you have to travel a long way to get your freestyle Coke. Here's what they need to do at a minimum. They need to leave that one accessible all of the time. They have to add one in the Solarium. Maybe there's one in the bistro up there. I don't think there is. If there is, feel free to correct me down in the comments. But they have to have one in the Solarium. There's a lot of people hanging out there for long periods of time, and the bar gets busy up there when the Solarium's packed. And there's one other place where I said we need one. Yes, 270. My gosh, that's we already told you how amazing this area is. Plus, you have the Cafe 270 right there. Put a freestyle Coke machine back there.
And bring some potato chips to go with my Kummel Wicks.
Now, I know that we also have other mixed feelings about the cups.
Yes. So the freestyle cups, they are awesome. There's a chip in the bottom. Mm-hmm. You put it on the machine. It knows
that you paid for the drink package.
Here's the problem with that. One, nobody wants to carry around that cup all the time.
Let me interject real quick. Yeah. If you don't have the cup, you can still go to a bar and wait your turn in line and get a glass of soda. But that kind of defeats the purpose of the freestyle Coke machines in the cup. Go ahead.
Yeah. If it's elegant night and you want to get all dressed up nice and fancy, you don't want to be...
I do.
Yeah. You don't want to be carrying around some big plastic cup.
Yeah.
It's even such a thing, not just on this ship, but on Facebook and in forums. People are always asking, hey, what kind of cups do they have on board? Because they want to go on Amazon, and people will actually buy a sling for the cup so they don't have to carry it But so they have it with them.
I'm gonna add that to my Amazon Christmas wish list.
Maybe if it works.
All right, I think we've covered the food. Like I said, there are some upcharge dining areas here, and we didn't eat any this week, but we have tried a lot of them in the past, and we do recommend those if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, listen, I mean, the Windjammer and the MDR are going to get you through the week, and we have no major complaints about those. So I think we should move on, and let's talk about the itinerary that we had on the Odyssey this week.
Yeah. So we had a couple sea days. We had Grand Cayman, we had Falmouth, Jamaica, and we had Coco Cay.
So what'd you do in Grand Cayman?
I sat on a tender boat for about an hour.
This is a funny story. Yeah, obviously it's nothing due to Royal Caribbean's fault, but tell them what happened.
Yeah, we had an excursion to go swim with the turtles. Well, first of all, I want to point out our time in port originally was supposed to be 10 a.m. until like 6. We booked our excursion. Then, they're sending us emails. Oh, the port time has changed, so now your excursion has been pushed back, yada, yada, yada. So our excursion got pushed back till 12:30. Yep. Well, the day of our port arrival in Grand Cayman, we arrived at port at 10 a.m. That didn't do us any good. Yeah. We still had to sit there and wait for our excursion because our meeting point was in the theater. Yeah,
they started the tender boats, but we were kind of stuck. There's no way we could get off because we had to meet in the theater for our excursion. And when we finally did, which was 11:30, we got on the tender boat and started to pull away from the ship at noon.
Yeah. And getting onto the tender boat, it was pretty precarious. There was a lot of motion happening. And as we were, slowly getting to shore, the waves were getting a little rocky. We were in the very back of the tender boat, so we didn't see what was happening. It was a double decker. But, we're at the dock, we're hooked up, and just the waves are just going.
Some big ones.
Yeah. So after about 25 minutes, they unhooked us and we pulled away. And as we were pulling away, we realized why we had been sitting there so long. Our boat, the tender boat, had connected to the
stair and the ramp
staircase to get to the pier, and the wave had taken it and caused the stairs to uproot out of the concrete.
Yeah, it pulled them right out of the bolts right out of the concrete. So long story short, we ended up heading back to the ship, as did every tender boat from all 4 ships that were in port. No more tender boats left, and they worked through the day to get everybody that had gotten off back to the ship, which they did, and that was that. So they refunded our excursion.
Yes.
And they added some activities that afternoon on the ship to kind of keep people busy.
Yeah. So I just want to point out real quick, if you ever have something canceled and they're like, oh, it'll be refunded, check your account. If you used onboard credit to purchase something, it's going to come back as a non-refundable deposit.
Yeah.
Because you used onboard credit.
So you have to spend that money while you're on board. It will not go back to your card. The refundable will go back to your card, the original form of payment that you paid for that with.
So yeah, just be cognizant of that, because otherwise you're missing out on some free money. Next up was Falmouth. Now, we did not have an excursion booked. We have a lot of cruises planned, so we're being selective about excursions right now.
So we checked out the port though. It's a very nice port area. We got off early, and some of the things weren't open yet. But if you want to do some shopping, they've got good coffee there.
Yeah.
They got lots of free liquor tastings down there. And once we got back on board, it looked like there was a party going on down there. So I think we probably should have gotten off a little later. But Falmouth is kind of in between Montego Bay and Ocho Rios, so they've got lots of different excursions. Dunn's River Falls, there's zip lining, lots of options of things you can do there. So just know though, if you're not doing an excursion and you just wanted to do a little shopping, at least inside the port area there is pretty nice. So that's something you can look forward to.
Lots of shops.
And our other stop
was at Coco Cay.
Perfect day at Coco Cay, and there's a lot of ways that you can enjoy your perfect day at Coco Cay. You can do the water slides at Thrill Island. You can go to the Oasis Lagoon. You can spend a lot of money to stay on a really fancy hut over the water at those private cabanas. You can just chill, or you can do the new thing they have there, which is
Hideaway Beach, the adults only area. So that is what we ended up doing. Yep. And it has a massive pool that's heated, like 70 plus degrees.
It was
heated.
Warm, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It's warmer than some of the whirlpools I've been in on cruise ships.
Yeah. It had a lot of, it had a swim up bar. It's got some cool, seating.
Yep.
It's got a nice infinity edge, so you can go, look out at the beach and at the ocean.
And if you want to rent a private cabana or casita, there's some options there. There's some that are kind of in front of the big pool. There's some that are a little further down that kind of have like their own private little water access in front of those. So a lot of options there. You're gonna have to book that stuff early, I'm sure. A lot of some different food options there at Hideaway Beach as well.
Yeah, it had some pizza slices, some empanadas. You had your standard free fare that you can get, just
like
out
the
on
snack
the rest
shack
of the
type
island.
thing,
Yeah. But it also had like coconut shrimp as an added one, ceviche, just different items than what you can get
different
out.
Options.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, obviously, with just about every excursion with Royal Caribbean and every other cruise line, the prices can vary for this. So we've seen them as low as
$20,
$20 some dollars, all the way up to $80 or maybe even more. So it's something that you wanna kind of check at and check back with. Maybe some Black Friday deals or holiday deals. Just look for the deals, and when you feel comfortable, if an adults only beach club is something that you're looking forward to, this is a good one. They've also got a little area over at the edge called On the Rocks, where they had some live music playing there too, and some pool tables, and it's another bar.
Some big screen TVs.
Yeah.
So
it's a pretty cool place. If you want to spend a cool day there, I would shop it and find when the price is right and check it out. They've got trams that'll take you right over there too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it for the itinerary. Was there anything else in summation on the ship that you want to talk to before we go to Debarkation?
I think that was...
Yeah, listen, Odyssey of the Seas, like we said at the start, it was a long wait, but I was happy with the cruise experience. I would definitely cruise this ship again. I would work out a little more prior to and just decide to take the stairs in the first place. But we had a great time. It was a good cruise. It runs some good itineraries. It runs 6 days and 8 days right now from Port Everglades. Obviously, that's subject to change. I didn't look at the long term for the ship, but wherever it's sailing, I think you'll have a good time on this ship. When it was debarkation time, nobody likes this day, but I think it went pretty smooth for us, right?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if all cruise lines are doing this right now, but I feel like Celebrity did and Royal Caribbean. When you get on board, you can actually go in your app and choose your disembarkation time. So you don't have to go fight for luggage tags. If you have an early flight, or you need to get off the ship early, you can select that time, and they will deliver those luggage tags to you. Or if you want to be one of the last ones off, select a 9:30 departure.
Yeah. So we had our stuff ready. I actually got a notification on my smartwatch here that it was our time. We grabbed our stuff and we walked right off, no lines.
Yeah, so let me tell you, having a passport is not requirement to sail a closed loop cruise
from the United States.
However, having a passport makes it so convenient, so easy. They use facial recognition.
Yeah.
So when you get off the ship and you're going through customs, you step up to the camera, you smile, and if you get green, you're good to go. And if for some reason there's an issue, then they will take you over to talk to CBP. But other than that, smooth sailing.
Yeah, this disembarkation process was just about as smooth as the embarkation, and all around a great cruise. If you want to check out a full walkthrough ship tour of Odyssey of the Seas, we'll put that right up here, and we'll also have that link down in the description below. And if you want any more information on Odyssey, or you want to book it or any other cruise ship, how can they get a hold of you, Steph?
So you can call me at the number, which should be down below there, or you can email me at thecruiseworldtravel@gmail.com.
All right, so if you like this video, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe so you won't miss out on our content. Share this video with your friends, and as always, remember,
Life is short and cruising is fun.
we'll see you soon.